from the field of 68, and then we'll celebrate a big Memphis win tonight, which is kind of a long time coming, sort of. Well, the long time coming is that they scored some points tonight, Tony. That was the big thing with this Memphis win, is the offense looked pretty good, right? I mean, They scored 72. They pounded Wichita. They looked great in the second half. The defense has been good throughout. Like, I don't think the defense has been an issue all year. It's the offense, man, that had been really, really difficult to watch.
Yeah, man. I think for us, man, the best thing was we finally made some shots. Guys made some. Alex made some shots. Yep. Landers made some shots. Got Musa going in the second half. Kind of turned the page for us offensively. That's something we needed. We've been struggling offensively, especially like late game situations. Last 8 minutes of games, we haven't been scoring much. So that was good to see tonight for sure.
That's what I thought. I'm like, all right, if it gets close at the end, if it's down to single digits, you do not want that. Like you had to keep it. And to be honest, extending it was huge for this team, because the worst thing that could have happened is like this thing gets tight and they start to feel a little more game pressure at the end, where they never really felt that in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, that second half, they opened up a bit, closing the first half on that 8-0 run. Kind of helped, leading into the second half, because, like I said, the first few games we lost, the Tulsa, the last game, which we struggled, couldn't score in the last 5 minutes. So it was good to kind of see guys getting the flow a little bit. He was getting some good substitution, good minutes from everybody today offensively. And I think that definitely played a key part. Maybe the fans being there helped as well. You got we finally got some fans back in there, so that definitely helped.
Is that the first time they had fans in all year, or no? Or did they have them in then didn't?
No, they had them in earlier. They had them early. But tonight was the first time they got to have them back in. I don't know at what capacity, but they got some fans in there. So it was good for those kids to probably play in front of some people and kind of get some momentum going. Definitely needed that win tonight for sure.
Yeah, this was like a must-win, I think, from like a confidence. And even though, again, listen, you're not winning the league, you're probably not getting that large berth unless you run the table at this point. But it's more for like momentum going in second half of the year, finish strong. Like, this is a team that, let's face it, like you look at their talent level, top to bottom, and you say it might be best in the league, including Houston. Like, it might be better than Houston. If it's not, it's damn close. And there's no reason they shouldn't finish in the top 2 or 3 in the league.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think, early on the year, we struggled a bit, man, offensively. I think watching them, they were trying to find, roles and try to identify those type of things. And now the second half of the season is huge. We took that loss to Tulsa. So watching those guys lose that game, you can see they came back, tonight, with some edge. Like I said earlier, defensively, you never kind of worried about them because they're going to play defense and they're going to play hard. But offensively, been our issue. So tonight, hopefully, that's a good thing going forward. We still got Houston again. Things like that. The conference tournament, you can get things going, and anything can happen in March, man. So I'm rooting for my guys to make some noise come March conference tournament. We can play with anyone in the league. We just gotta show up.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I like it. The ball was moving tonight. Like, that was the one thing I saw. Like, they were playing unselfish tonight, Tone. That was right. Like, nobody was hunting, which is what it's looked like AAU ball at times this year.
Yeah.
It's been hard to watch because the ball sticks. They come down, and AAU ball is what? I mean, we know what it is. You come down and you jack. And that's been a lot of the time this year for Memphis. Tonight, that was not the case. The ball was moving, and again, it wasn't like everybody was just trying to get theirs.
Yeah, I think, that point showed me earlier was, I think Landers came down, hit a 3, then hit a mid-range jump shot in transition in the third possession. I'm like, we got to get him the ball one more time. Yeah. And they got him the ball, but he made an extra pass to DJ, and DJ drove to the rim on that possession. But if we can play that way, man, we can make some noise, I think. Yes. Man, I think watching them is good. It's just hard, like I said, seeing them make those quick shots and bad shots. But I think that those last 3 weeks that Memphis had off kind of helped. think Penny probably got to practice a little more with them and kind of teach them a little more of the new offense that he inserted. So I think as things go forward, things should start clicking a little more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, the good thing tonight was, too, Musa was so bad in the first half. So bad, like invisible. And then the second half, right out of the gates, they got him involved. They got him some easy baskets. Defensively, he can be such a presence, especially in this league. So, like, you got to keep those big guys going, though. Like, you got to get him the ball and get him some easy ones. To me, he should be getting a couple lobs every game.
Oh, definitely, man. He's so athletic. His wingspan is ridiculous. I think, posting him up is something they should not do much of. I don't think it's a significant play call. I think it's just the players trying to feed him the ball, but he's better at lobs and just dump offs, kind of like a Joey version, where, plays aren't going to go through him, but he makes an impact. He's going to dunk everything and block shots and rebound. But, man, if we can give him that 8 to 10 point range a game, makes a huge difference for us offensively for sure.
Were you surprised? Because if you had told me that they would beat Wichita by 20, like before the season, and Boogie Ellis would score like 3 points, I would be surprised. I felt like Boogie had to be a key part of this team. Now, again, with the addition of Landers Nolly being eligible and DeAndre Williams, a little bit different. But I always felt like Boogie was that guy that you just give him the ball and let him attack and let him score. Tonight, he really didn't do anything. And maybe that's the beauty of what this team should be, Tone, which is, hey, they're not relying on one guy. They got 5 dudes. Lester didn't do much tonight. They got 5 or 6 dudes that could all go for 15.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's the one thing that we have is, watching these guys, man, they're so balanced. And, I think Landers leads us in scoring like 13, 14 points a game. Then everyone else is kind of just right underneath. And I think if, like you said, if they can just stay consistent with that, it makes us a better team. I think, watching – I watched Wichita play Houston the other night, and Houston beat them up pretty bad. So I kind of have my hopes up coming into tonight because I'm like, they just got dragged through the mud the other night. Now they're in Memphis a little bit. We got our fans in the building, man. Just was able to, see them boys put it together finally, make me feel good as an alum and former player there, just to see them finally click to it. That's what everyone been wanting to see from the beginning of the season.
So when you watch this team, at least the one thing you as a guy that hung his hat on defense, like who's the guy that you really enjoy watching guard on this team?
Oh, Alex.
Yeah.
I think Alex is he's a pest. You see Penny gives him the freedom to roam a bit defensively like a free safety. That's just the trust that he has in Alex. And then I say Damian as well, he comes in relentless. He comes in like a pit bull, relentless, 6'4", athletic. So those two defensively I love watching. Everyone else plays hard and they get after it, but those two definitely get me excited watching them play defense.
Who's the best defender you have ever shared a court with?
That I ever shared a court with?
Yep. Could be a former teammate. Could be a guy you went up against that you were just like, man, all right, that dude, I got mass, respect for him because he gets after it like I do.
I'll go with Westbrook. We played him in the Final Four. And he took that, even though Chris played well, he took that challenge on as a freshman to battle with Chris, and which wasn't easy, but he held his own offensively as well, but defensively was trying to get in Chris's shirt, being aggressive and things like that. So I would say Russell. If I had to go with a teammate, I'll go with Andre Allen easily.
I'll tell you what, that Final Four, Tone, I know for you, you have such probably mixed feelings about it, but it was so good. The juice that had, I don't ever remember being in a Final Four like that one. I don't. And I've been to every year for the last 20 years. I've been to the Final Four. And I don't ever remember going into it being like, I'm so pumped because every team had a shot to win it. Every team had big names, big name programs. You just had so much buildup and so much excitement about that Final Four. I'm telling you, it was like no other I've ever been to, ever.
It was crazy, man. Even they had the little ring ceremony for everybody a couple of days earlier, and there was so much trash talk. So many of the guys that I knew Mario from Adidas camp and things of that nature. And Darren and Mario were all really good friends. We were all counselors at the Adidas camp. And then you had in UNC, they got Danny Green and these guys, and everyone's chirping and everyone's talking their mess. Man, it was a good time for sure. Looking back at it, regardless of the outcome, it was definitely like one of those experiences you can't forget about. No matter you win or lose, I'm sure every kid who played in the Final Four can definitely say the same.
Nobody talk more trash than you guys, though. Come on, nobody.
They're talking trash, man. We were the smaller school. We had. They were like, "Oh, you guys didn't play nobody," rah, doing that talk. And then I think after we played UCLA and kind of handled our business, I think everyone kind of took us a little more serious. Like, okay, they can play a little bit.
Well, I'd seen you guys since prep school, so I knew you could play. I knew how tough you guys were. The thing that always blew me away and still does, about Derrick Rose, was that he never said a word, Tony. The rest of you probably talked a lot of shit. D. Rose didn't ever say a word, did he?
He won't say much to opposing teams, but amongst us, he talked a lot of shit. Yeah, man, that's all he did, man. He's a jokester, joking around. When he's around people he's comfortable with, he'll be himself. He's always to himself. He was fun to play with. Just not just because of his talent, just be so unselfish.
Yeah.
He would always force feed people the ball just to let someone. He knew he can get his anytime he wanted. So it was good playing with someone like that. After having years of playing,
he didn't want it to be about him, right? He did not want it to be about him at all, did he?
At all, man. When I tell you, Jeff, it was one day he had a photo shoot with Slam magazine, and it was just supposed to be him, and he wouldn't come out the locker room, and then the people are just sitting on the court. And then he's like, "I'm not taking this picture unless my whole team can be in it."
Yep.
We all got dressed within 10 seconds. Hell yeah, man.
He's special, man. I tell people all the time, that kid, he's not a kid anymore, but he was special because he was like a silent assassin. He just didn't say anything, and he would rip your heart out. I remember in AAU ball, I'll still say the best backcourt I ever saw, maybe the best, duo I ever saw covering AAU ball, and I've been doing it since 20 years.
Yeah,
was Derrick Rose and Eric Gordon.
Oh,
I mean, Eric Gordon, when back then, he was a killer. Obviously he's been hurt a lot in his career. Yeah. Not quite the same player. I think if he had stayed healthy, Eric Gordon would have been potentially an all-star. I mean, he was that explosive, and D. Rose and Eric Gordon just they complement each other's game so well.
I imagine how scary it was because, that year when Derrick came on as visit and played, well, holy snap.
Really? He was that good, right?
Yeah, he's in high school. Damn. Then when he came, he made his mark from day one, dunking on Pierre like he did, man. We were like, holy shit.
Did he dunked on Pierre from workout or first practice?
First, that summer school, first day of pickup, summer school in June, played pickup, and he went back door. Chris threw him the ball back door. He threw it behind his head. And we just looked at each other like, we got one.
We got one. That's right. We got a chance now. We got a real chance.
We got a shot now, man.
What was it like? Because he struggled. People forget the first.
Yeah.
I don't know how many games. I remember I was at the Garden.
Probably
the OJ Mayo game.
Yeah, probably the first 5 or 6 games. He was. He had a hard time a little bit.
Yeah. What? And, do you remember having to talk to him and bring him along and kind of keep him, or not really?
Oh yeah, definitely. Coach Kyle, just told him, we're gonna stick with you. We believe in you, and it kind of felt on the guys on the floor with them, myself, Dozier, and Chris, and all of us. Just look, man, we don't care about you missing shots. We don't care about you. Just come on. And I think he broke open. We played Georgetown at home, and he went bananas. And he started rolling in, and everyone thinks Derrick averaged 13 points a game. But it was just you could just tell the difference. He was a difference maker with his speed, his athleticism. So and he was a willing defender too. So that his competitiveness was through the charts.
Is it cool watching him in a way now? Because like for me, it's just cool because he doesn't have that explosiveness, but he's changed his whole game. Never complained. Never says a word. Kind of the same D Rose like up here, but so much smarter of a player, knowing that he can't get away with the athleticism. He's got to play a more cerebral game.
Oh man, he's definitely way smarter with it. I love watching him play. Just a fan of his game. Outside of being his friend, just able to watch him. See how mature he's become, dealing with the injuries and things of that nature. He's in Detroit now. They're starting a young kid, the rookie, and he's helping the kid. He comes off the bench and still does his thing. And when he was in Boston last year, we sat down in this hotel and was talking about it all. And he's like, man, like, I feel like I'm a better player, now. Like, I'm thinking a lot more than before. I get by you. I'm trying to dunk on you from the 3-point line. And so
didn't have to.
Just seeing him, man.
Yeah.
Just seeing him happy. That's
you guys, right? I mean, you told me when we had lunch. For those that don't know, me and Tone live 20 minutes from each other, so we did lunch outside when the weather was still good here in Boston. Now it's 30 degrees, and we had flurries today. But you were saying you guys get together almost every year as a group. You still get together as a team, right?
Yeah, we get together, man. We try to have a good time. I did a lot of the guys got together over New Year's. I couldn't get to that trip, but Chance McGrady just had like a weekend in Houston. A bunch of us went down. Tyreek was down there, and so we all got together, got some lunches, dinner, man. Had some good times, had some good laughs. Made some Coach Cal stories and made the fun out of it, man.
Are we going to tell the story, the story of the surprise visitor before the national title game? Do we want to hold that, or do we want to tell that now?
Oh, we could, man. I think that's the one thing. we're in the locker room, man, getting ready to play Kansas, and everyone's getting dressed, listen to their music, and we just usually, Coach, he'll let us know when to take our headphones off or whatever, or turn the music down. And he's like, all right, so we think we're going to get to our game, his, the speech he's going to give. And here comes like Reverend Jesse Jackson. And we're looking like, what the hell is he doing in here, man? And he just, he's talking to us about the stuff. And we're like, he's not even talking about basketball. Really, like, he's taking our mind off this stuff. I think that's why we had a sluggish first half or something. Like, man, like, we all walked out of the locker room looking at one another like, man, why the hell is this guy just in there talking to us?
Like, it got like real. Like he brings in Jesse Jackson instead of, like, I remember years ago, Billy Donovan brought in like Ric Flair before like Florida's second one to get him hyped up, to get him amped up. And Cal's bringing in Jesse Jackson to kind of like, the air probably was kind of weird. Like, what's going on here?
And then, and we seen him early in the year because he had came to Memphis for something, and came by a practice, watched us practice, and, we took a picture. So we were unsure why he was there again to talk to us. Like, can't give us no powerful speech before a basketball game. That's not something nobody wants to hear, to go out and play a national championship. So it kind of
Joey wasn't having that one, right? Joey must have been tuning Jesse Jackson out after a few minutes after that one.
Joey just put his head down and kept shaking his head.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, Joey that was Joey. And then we all kind of get out of it.
What do you think now when you see Cal? Because it's like a hot button topic right now. I actually defended him hard, and I don't have a good relationship with him, and I haven't for 10, 12 years. They're struggling. They're like 4-9 right now at Kentucky. Kentucky fans, believe it or not, Tone, there's some fans that are like, he needs to go. And it's like, be careful. This is what I wrote. And I said, be careful what you wish for, because he's still got you relevant pretty much every year.
Those fans are tough, man. It's tough, but I don't think Coach got to go. It's 1 year since he's been kind of hitting rock bottom a little bit. And I think it's the year in which he just doesn't have the pros that he's used to having. Since he's been loaded, the John Walls, the Bookers, everybody, Carl Anthony Towns, everyone. And you got some guys who are potential draft picks. You got Terrence, who, the kid from Massachusetts. You got him. You got the Brandon Boston kids, other kids who are very, very good. But, now you get into college, it's a different game. A lot of juniors and seniors banging you around, man. It's not the EYBL circus no more. It's not some of those things no more. And it can be tough. And I think it's catching up with them a little bit. And, Cal is coaching them. He's coaching them up. You can tell he's coaching them up. But, he just doesn't have that game changer that he always has. He always has one kid that just makes a huge difference. He's missing that this year for sure.
100%. I agree with you 1,000%. Like if Brandon Boston was the Brandon Boston that we thought he'd be, or I always say this is the example I've given over the last day. If they had gotten Cade Cunningham, who went to Oklahoma State, who's going to be the number one pick, instead of 4-9, they're 9-4 because Devin Askew then plays a complementary role. He doesn't have to be the 30-minute-a-game point guard. The kid Davion Mintz isn't really a point guard. They're forced to play him some there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's crazy, the expectations.
I don't know the recruit because I'm not in college, but I know Kentucky and Minnesota are close, and Suggs should have been that target. Him and Cunningham should have been the point guard targets. Those two are the best point guards in college basketball.
Yeah. No, you're right. And part of it is, again, they're not getting the elite guys like they were getting with John Wall. And then you're getting the next tier, which a lot of those kids are still entitled, Tone. A lot of them are still entitled. And the one thing with you guys was most of you really didn't come in entitled. You had to work for it. Like you, Joey, Dozier blew up late. You had like Sean Williams he had a little bit more pop to him coming in. But most of you guys, that's what I always said about Cal. Like when he went to Kentucky, I actually thought it would be tough for him in a sense because I felt like he wasn't going to get eventually. He got him early with like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, some of those guys, Bledsoe. But eventually he was going to get a different type of player that was a little bit more entitled. And you're seeing that now. You're not seeing those tough, gritty, hard-nosed dudes that you guys were.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I think that's what, at Memphis, it was different. He brought in
two.
Blue chipper a year, 1 5-star kid a year. You bring in D Rose.
Two overall, really. Tyreek and D Rose, wasn't that probably it? The top 5 kids, right?
Yeah, yep. And then DeJuan Wagner a couple years before us.
Yeah, he started it. That's right. He started it. Yep.
And then Sean Williams was like the cream of the crop in our class. And then, you bring in D Rose 2 years later. And then, you bring in Reek. So that fused you to get, I remember John Wall and all those guys coming on visits. And, if he doesn't leave Memphis. They're at Memphis. That's why a lot of Memphis people, I can't say, he took anyone because, kids are going to go where they want to be with the coach. So, but yeah, it's tough. I watch Coach. I support him. Definitely always support him. He gave me an opportunity, helped me get a free education. So can't take that away from him. So, man, just the group of kids that he has now is just not the same kids that he's used to having. I think, they thought, some of those kids are going to come in and be something different, and it haven't. So it's been tough. You know
what it is, too? Social media. Like, you guys didn't have that, right? What did you have for social media when you were in high school? Zero. You didn't have anything, did you?
We had nothing, man. We had nothing. I think that's why it bothers me every time I see kids doing, like, these little long paragraphs and then notes committing to schools. Yeah. Like, man, just call them and tell them you're coming, man. So people don't expect much.
No. They do their, like, final 12s. I'm like, no. Just say who you're, those are the kids I love now. The kids that aren't on social media, like Kawhi is a great example. Now, he's not a kid, but like Kawhi doesn't give a shit about social media. He goes out there and plays ball. Like I look for those guys in high school. Who are the ones that aren't on it all the time? Because those are usually the ones that are going to be focused on the right things.
Yeah. It's watching so many kids pay attention to that is different because, like you said, you now they're walking into so much expectation. Second, you have a bad game, people are on your ass. Where if you don't look for attention, people kind of grow with you a little bit and build with you. But if you're always boosting and boasting about your highlights and what you're doing and dunking on people averaging 30 points, you get to college and you don't show that, it ain't gonna help you.
Right, no doubt. All right, well, listen. To everybody that was watching and hoping to see Will Barton instead of me, I apologize. We will get Will on. Looks like he was called into a last-minute team meeting tonight. So, Tone, Saturday afternoon is the hope?
Yeah, Saturday afternoon. He's playing Phoenix back-to-back days. So he told me he wants to get on. He was telling me he was waiting for me to get in contact with him to get on. So it's going to be funny. He's excited to talk Memphis basketball. So it's going to be good. And he was number 5, so that's my guy.
There you go. There you go. I love Will. Love Will. Knew him since Brewster Academy. So you guys can talk a little about why. I want to know the answer to that. Why did he go to Memphis from Baltimore?
And we're going to talk about my guy Jason Smith at Brewster Academy.
Yep.
Jason was one of the first guys who turned me down in prep school. He told me, he'll tell you.
Wait. He wasn't the only one. You were a 6'4" center at Maine Central Institute.
Right? Everybody was like, man, what? And, I go
Nobody
to
wanted
MCI, man. I made it a point to punish all. If win or lose, I was like, man, I'm sure these dudes I can play, man.
6'4" center. I loved it. I remember those days, Tone. I remember them. All right, well, listen, good talking to you. Remember, subscribe to Tone's pod wherever you listen to your pods. And hopefully we'll get him and Will Barton on Saturday.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for having me, man. Make sure you subscribe to Beale Street Bullies.